All right, strap in, everybody. Today we are going deep into the X-22 report.
Ooh, exciting.
This is episode number 3500N.
3500N.
That came out November 14th, 2024.
Okay.
And the title is very catchy, very attention-grabbing, Deep State Scared. Trump is playing 4D chess to get them confirmed. Hammer of Justice is coming.
Wow.
Now, the X-22 report is, as you might know, popular among certain segments of the population.
Right.
And this episode goes into the economy and into politics, but with a very particular spin on things. And today, we are going to unpack how this episode is put together, how it makes its case, why it resonates with people. What do you think? Where should we start with this?
Well, I think the first thing that jumps out at you is how much this episode really taps into people's anxieties, especially when it comes to the economy.
Yeah.
They paint this really kind of bleak picture saying that we're on the verge of a total economic meltdown. And they put the blame squarely on the Federal Reserve.
The Federal Reserve.
Which the host always calls the private central bank.
Right. It's not just like, oh, the economy's bad.
Right.
They're saying, no, this is deliberate. This is manipulation.
Right.
They're arguing that inflation, which we're all feeling the pinch of right now, this isn't an accident. This is a tool being used by this private central bank to control us and enslave us, essentially.
And to kind of make that point hit home even harder, they point to the inflation numbers, the rising inflation. They talk about how the labor market is getting weaker.
Oh, yeah.
And they even bring in Elon Musk talking about how he's been criticizing government spending.
Oh, interesting.
So it's like, even Elon sees it. It must be true, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Even Elon's worried.
Exactly.
Okay, so they're playing on economic anxieties.
Right.
And they're saying, look, there are these powerful forces controlling things.
Yes.
But then it takes this really interesting turn because then they bring Trump into it.
Yes.
So the episode claims that this deep state, and this is, of course, the term that they use for this hidden power structure, they claim that the deep state is totally panicking because Trump is strategically putting all of these outsiders into key positions in the government.
Yes. And this is where the 4D chess comes in, this idea that Trump is making all of these moves that on the surface might seem baffling.
Yeah.
But actually, they're these brilliant strategic plays that are meant to expose the corruption and disrupt the system from the inside.
So it's not just that he's picking unconventional people, it's that they're saying there's this master plan behind it all.
Exactly. Exactly.
Oh, wow.
And they point to specific people, like they say, maybe Tulsi Gabbard will be the director of national intelligence.
Oh, okay.
They even speculate about RFK Jr. leading HHS and Matt Gaetz becoming attorney general.
Wow, those are some bold predictions.
Yeah, they are.
But they don't stop there, do they?
No, they don't.
They then say that these nominations are going to cause huge battles in the Senate.
Oh, yeah.
Because certain senators are really worried about these picks.
And they're worried about them. They talk about, are these people actually qualified? And then there's this really kind of loaded term that they use. They talk about weaponizing government agencies.
Weaponizing.
Yeah.
What does that even mean in this context?
Well, what they seem to be saying is that, because these people are outsiders, they're going to come in and they're going to use their positions to basically go after their enemies. They're going to use the power of the government for political vendettas.
Okay.
Which is a pretty serious accusation.
Right.
And it really plays into this deep distrust of government.
Yeah, it definitely ramps up the drama.
Oh, for sure.
But then they go even further.
Right.
They suggest that Trump might actually try to challenge the Senate's power to confirm his nominees.
Yes.
Like what?
They argue that this whole confirmation process has become this way for Congress to kind of encroach on the power of the president, to overstep its bounds. Like this wasn't what the founding fathers intended.
Right.
So, they're basically setting up Trump as not just fighting this corrupt deep state, but also fighting the structure of the government itself.
Oh, wow. This is starting to sound like a constitutional crisis in the making.
Yeah, he is.
But let's focus on one specific nominee that they spent a lot of time on. Matt Gaetz.
Okay.
Now, you might remember some of the controversies around Gaetz. There were allegations, there was an ethics probe.
Right.
But it's interesting how this episode frames his resignation from Congress.
Uh-huh.
They present it as a strategic move. Like, he's ending the probe on his own terms so that he can take a powerful role in Trump's administration.
Right.
Maybe even as Attorney General.
Exactly. So he's kind of maneuvering himself into a position of power.
But wouldn't that be controversial, given all of the accusations against him?
Oh, absolutely. But you have to remember, this episode is speaking to an audience that probably already views Gaetz pretty favorably. So they focus on his stance on election integrity. They paint him as this, like, fearless crusader who's going to take on the establishment and deliver justice.
Okay. So we've got economic meltdown, deep state panicking, a potential constitutional showdown brewing, and Matt Gaetz as a key player. This is already a lot.
It is.
But it's not just the big picture, is it? They also use all of these smaller details and stories.
Right, right. Like, for example, they talk about how Trump is going to take money that was supposed to go to aid for illegal immigrants.
Yeah, I remember that.
And he's going to use it to support homeless veterans instead.
Right. And that taps into so many anxieties and resentments.
Sure.
It really reinforces this narrative that some groups are being prioritized over others.
Exactly.
And of course, Trump is the hero, the champion of the people who've been neglected.
Exactly, exactly. And then there's that story about the FBI and how they lied about corrupt data in the January 6th pipe bomber investigation.
Oh, yeah. So they're suggesting a cover-up.
Exactly.
That totally feeds into this deep state narrative. Like,
Yeah.
there are these powerful forces working to suppress the truth.
Right?
And it makes you question everything you thought you knew about January 6th.
It really does. And it's not just the FBI. They also talk about the Biden Justice Department, how they warned Elon Musk about his political action committee
Oh, wow.
giving away money for voter registration.
And they frame this as the DOJ trying to interfere with the election
Exactly.
and trying to silence a powerful critic.
It's all part of this big fight against the establishment, against Trump and anyone who supports him.
So they're connecting all of these seemingly unrelated events to create one big narrative.
They're building a case piece by piece.
Yeah, using facts, but also interpretation and even insinuation.
Exactly.
Wow. But we've only just scratched the surface here.
We've got a lot more to unpack.
So much more to discuss about this X-22 report episode. So
Right.
stick with us as we go deeper into this world and try to understand how it all fits together and what it tells us about the people who believe in it.
It's fascinating stuff.
Absolutely fascinating.
It's wild how they create this sense of, like, everything's about to happen.
Yeah.
Things are about to explode.
Right.
And you need to be paying attention
Oh, yeah.
because it's happening now.
It's like get on board or get left behind.
Exactly.
Yeah, and it's not just the political stuff.
Right.
Remember they were talking about this economic meltdown?
Oh, yes.
They tie that into the deep state panic, too.
Right.
It's like the people in power,
Uh-huh.
they're trying to hold on to control
Yeah.
as everything's falling apart.
Yeah, it's like this really precarious moment.
Yeah.
All these forces clashing.
Right.
And of course they're saying Trump is the only one who can, like, get us through this.
Right.
Like, he's the only one who can defeat the deep state.
Yeah, and then bring about this, like, restoration.
Exactly.
Okay, so they've set the stage. We're on the brink.
Yeah.
Hidden forces at work.
Uh-huh.
But they don't stop there.
Yeah.
They dig into the confirmation process for Trump's cabinet. Right.
And they're saying those Senate hearings,
Oh, yeah.
those are going to be epic.
Huge battles.
Yeah.
They basically say that the Senate confirmation process has become a tool
Uh-huh.
to block Trump's agenda.
Oh, interesting.
That it's Congress overstepping its bounds, like trying to encroach on the power of the president.
You know,
Yeah,
I never thought of it that way.
right.
But they're saying it's not just about the nominees.
Uh-huh.
It's a fundamental power struggle
Exactly.
between branches of government.
They're saying Trump is fighting a war on two fronts.
Okay.
He's fighting the corrupt deep state,
Right?
but he's also fighting the system itself,
Wow.
a system that's rigged against him.
And they say he's not afraid to push back.
Oh, no.
Like, he's willing to do whatever it takes
break the rule.
to make change happen.
Unprecedented actions.
Yeah. And they even suggest he might have some tricks up his sleeve
Oh, yeah.
to get his people confirmed.
Like
like
great.
recess appointments.
When the Senate's not in session.
Yeah.
But then they bring up this super obscure constitutional provision
Uh-huh.
where he could adjourn Congress.
Wow. Under certain circumstances,
very
right?
interesting.
It makes you think, like, wow, they've really done their research. They know things we don't.
Like insider baseball.
Yeah, exactly.
And it makes you wonder, like, what's he going to do?
Right.
This is a political thriller.
Yeah, unfolding in real time.
They are masters of suspense.
They are.
They present Trump as this bold figure.
Larger than life,
Yeah,
not bound by the rules,
right,
the only one who can deliver justice.
right, because the system has failed.
They keep talking about this hammer of justice
Oh, yeah?
coming down on the deep state.
Yeah, but what does that even mean?
It's never really explained,
Yeah.
which I think adds to the mystery,
Right.
but it implies that there's going to be this reckoning.
Oh,
People will be held accountable.
wow.
And I think that really appeals to people's frustration and desire for change.
They definitely play into that frustration.
Oh, yeah.
But they also have all these smaller stories and anecdotes.
Yes.
Like to back up their claims.
Right.
Like they highlight this point that cell phone companies contradicted the FBI
Oh, right.
about the January 6th pipe bomber.
They're trying to cast doubt on the official story of January 6th,
Yeah.
implying that there's more to it than we know.
Like a cover-up.
Exactly, which plays right into that deep state narrative.
Right, like don't trust the mainstream media.
Uh-huh.
We're giving you the real truth.
We're the only ones who will tell you the truth.
Yeah, and then they bring up the Biden Justice Department again
Right.
and how they supposedly warned Elon Musk.
About his PAC
Yeah,
giving away money for voter registration,
and they're saying that was political.
trying to interfere with the election.
Silence a powerful critic.
So they're making Musk a victim of the deep state, too.
It's
Yeah.
like they're creating this web, all
Mm.
these interconnected stories.
Yeah. And they all point back to the same narrative.
Corrupt system working against Trump
Exactly.
and anyone who supports him.
They're saying there's a pattern here.
Right.
And the pattern points to this hidden hand
Yeah, controlling everything.
pulling the strings.
And they point to this controversy in the Pennsylvania Senate race
Right.
as proof that the deep state is still trying to manipulate elections.
Even after Trump won.
Yeah, they're claiming that the Democrat is trying to cheat his way to victory.
Even though the Republican won.
Like, the fight's not over.
Exactly. It's a way to keep their audience engaged.
Oh, yeah.
Even after the election.
Hooked.
Yeah, totally.
It's really fascinating
It is.
how they create this sense of ongoing struggle.
Yeah.
A battle that never ends.
Right.
But it's obvious that this is for a certain audience.
Oh, absolutely.
People who already believe this stuff.
They're speaking to people who are already skeptical
Of the media.
of the government.
Yeah.
And they do it in a way that's both entertaining and reassuring.
Like, we see you.
We understand.
We're not alone.
We're in this together.
It's a powerful message.
Yeah.
And it resonates with people who feel alienated.
Disenfranchised.
Yeah, like they've been left behind.
Right. But we've got to remember,
Yeah.
this is just one perspective.
Right.
It's important to look at things from different angles,
To get the full picture.
to critically evaluate the information.
Even when it comes from sources we like.
Like yourself.
Because what looks like good versus evil to one person
Right.
might look totally different to someone else.
So even though we're deep in the world of the X-22 report,
Yeah.
you're saying it's actually good for critical thinking.
It is.
Yeah.
Analyzing how they build their narrative,
Mm-hmm.
seeing the assumptions and biases,
Yeah.
and thinking about other interpretations,
Okay.
those are really important skills
So what can our listeners do?
to make sure they're not just absorbing this,
Right.
but actually engaging with it.
One thing is to look for sources that challenge your views.
Ooh, that's hard.
I know, right?
Don't just stay in your comfort zone.
Don't just listen to people you agree with,
Look for different perspectives.
even if it makes you uncomfortable,
Yeah.
because that's how we learn,
It's so easy to stay in our echo chambers,
right?
surrounded by people who think like us.
But it's way more interesting to step outside,
Yeah.
expand our horizons.
And another tip,
Uh-huh.
be wary of sources that make things too simple,
Right.
like black and white.
Good versus evil.
The world's more complicated than that.
It is.
There aren't always easy answers.
Right.
Look for sources that acknowledge nuance
That show different perspectives.
and that encourage critical thinking.
that make you think for yourself.
So as we wrap up this part of our dive into the X-22 report,
Okay.
we're not telling you what to think.
No.
We're encouraging you to think for yourselves,
Exactly.
to seek out different perspectives,
Yes.
and to keep questioning.
the information you come across.
Because at the end of the day,
Yeah.
it's about empowering you.
To make up your own mind.
And that's what we hope we've done here.
I hope so too.
We've given you a glimpse into this world.
This particular worldview,
Yeah.
this way of seeing things,
We've shown you how they build their narrative
their case
and encouraged you to think about it,
critically.
to analyze it,
So keep exploring
keep questioning.
and keep diving deep. Wow, we've really gone deep, haven't we?
They have.
Into this world of the X-22 report,
Yeah, it's been a wild ride.
from economic anxieties to the deep state.
Constitutional showdowns.
But as we wrap this up,
Okay.
what do you think is the takeaway here?
The core message.
Yeah, what are they trying to tell their listeners?
I think it boils down to this idea that there's this epic battle happening.
Okay.
A fight between good and evil.
Oh, wow.
On one side, you have Trump,
Right, the hero.
the champion of the people,
fighting against,
The deep state?
yeah, the corrupt forces.
And they're manipulating everything.
The economy, the media, elections.
It's a very dramatic story.
It is.
And it seems like it's meant to appeal to certain beliefs.
Yeah, oh yeah, for sure.
Certain anxieties.
Definitely.
Like people who feel like they've been left behind.
Yes.
That the system is rigged against them.
They're looking for someone to fight for them.
Someone to expose the truth.
Deliver justice.
And they're saying Trump is that guy.
The one who can drain the swamp.
Make America great again.
Yeah, exactly.
He's the fearless leader.
Not afraid to break the rules.
Take action.
Yeah.
But we have to remember,
Yes.
this is just one perspective.
Right.
One interpretation. It's so important
It is.
to look at things from different angles,
Get different viewpoints.
critically evaluate everything,
Everything.
even if it comes from a source we like.
Or agree with.
Because what seems like good versus evil to one person
Yeah.
might look different to someone else.
Completely.
So we've been analyzing this X-22 report episode.
Which is very opinionated.
Very.
But you're saying it can help us think critically?
In a way, yeah.
It can. If we pay attention to how they construct the narrative,
Right.
identify their assumptions, their biases.
See if there are other ways to interpret things.
Exactly.
So what can our listeners do?
To be more active.
Not just passive
Yes.
when they're consuming information.
One thing is to seek out sources that challenge your views.
That's tough.
I know.
We all like to be comfortable,
Right.
hear things we agree with,
But it's good to get out of that comfort zone.
look for different perspectives.
Yes.
Even if it's uncomfortable.
Even if you disagree.
Because that's how we grow.
It's how we learn.
It's so easy to stay in our echo chambers.
Surrounded by people who think like us.
But it's more enriching
More interesting.
to step outside.
See the bigger picture?
What else?
Be careful of sources that oversimplify things.
Oh, yeah.
Like black and white thinking.
Good versus evil.
The world is more complicated than that.
It is. Look for sources that
Embrace the nuance.
show you different sides,
Make you think.
make you think.
For yourself.
So as we wrap up our deep dive,
Into the X-22 report?
we're not saying this is what you should believe,
Yeah.
but we are encouraging you to think about it,
To question it.
to seek out different perspectives.
Yes.
Because in the end,
It's about empowering you.
to make up your own mind.
That's right.
We hope we've given you a glimpse
Into this world.
of this way of thinking
Shown you how they build their narrative.
and how to engage with it
Critically.
thoughtfully.
To be discerning consumers of information.
Exactly.
And we hope you'll keep exploring.
Keep questioning.
Keep diving deep.
Until next time.